Good morning. Week 3 NFL DFS for FanDuel and DraftKings this week. Jameson, Hutchison, Joel Wirth here. I think me and Joel are the last healthy people on earth. It is week 3, and we're already dumpster diving for the 185 retread quarterbacks that are playing this week to help pay our bills. So that, and it's raining unbelievable running back value plays. So we got a lot to get into. Joel, the brains behind this operation, how are you doing this morning?
I don't know about that, but I'm doing well, thanks. It sounds like everybody that was like super questionable is probably going to play, right? JSN sounds like he's going to play after that kind of late Saturday questionable with illness, which is always scary. He's going to be a cash game smash play. He was going to be a cash game smash play today, so that was kind of nerve wracking. And then Tucker Kraft sounds like he's going to play. It sounds like everybody who was kind of questionable, except for the quarterbacks, is going to play today. So that's good news.
Yeah, so we got a lot to get into. So before that, if you're joining in, if you have any sit questions, you want us to pray over your lineup, whatever you need to do, we're here for you. I say that every week. And then make sure to like, subscribe, share, phone a friend, whatever you need to do. But we got 9 games in the early window. We have 4 in the late window. There is a lot of heavy hammers in the late window. We will get to all of it. Going to kick it off with one of my personal favorites of all time, Carson Wentz, one of the worst quarterbacks out in the world. Starting for Minnesota at home against Cincinnati. So this is a pretty goofy one to kick off, but we do have some stuff we need to go over. So, Joel, kick us off here with Cincinnati on the road going up against Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota 3-point home favorites in the Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning Bowl. So 41.5 is the total in that game. So implied totals of 19.25 for the Bengals and 22.25 for Minnesota. I think this game just comes down to how much you trust the quarterbacks, and because you're getting pretty good prices on Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I kind of prefer playing those two together. I don't necessarily like playing them separate. I kind of like playing them together and just saying this game just ends up shooting out. I don't necessarily love doing either by themselves. And then Jordan Mason's going to be an absolute. Is he going to be? You think he's going to hit 60% cash games today?
That'd be more
ownership.
I would assume
he's probably like 65.
Him, Kenneth Walker. If you're playing cash and you don't show up to the dance with those two,
you're in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know what your process is unless you know more than we do. I'm very possible, but I do want to point out, like you said, Carson Wentz, the career criminal himself, starts for Minnesota. I believe Christian Darrisaw is in, as last time I saw.
Sounds like he's going to play, yeah.
Which that's huge for the offensive line, but they're still down a couple guys. He is 6,000 over on FanDuel, and then on DraftKings, he's going to be dirt cheap as well. Let's see here, 4,000. So he's right there with.
He's stone min on DK.
Yeah, him and 50-year vet Marcus Mariota, the same price. But I do want to bring up one thing: the Jake Browning spot. He has come in a couple times for Joe Burrow, and he's had some top 10 performances. It is a totally different offense that they run when Joe Burrow. When he's in, he sits in shotgun, and you know exactly what you're going to do. It's our 3 best guys. It's Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow against your defense. When Jake Browning comes in, they scheme a lot of stuff up to Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase is more of a DraftKings play today because he's going to have screens. They're going to put, all sorts of just slants and all sorts of stuff to try to get him into space. Still pretty expensive, $9,600. I don't think a lot of people are going to play Jamar Chase, but in tournaments, he's $8,100, so the second most expensive guy on the slate. Nobody's going to play him, but I do think like 10 targets is in his range of outcomes, and I do think that he sets up really well. I guess we'll talk about Jordan Mason. Both sides, he is going to be very owned. We got a couple, like I said, I brought up Kenneth Walker. 54,000 or 5,400, excuse me, on DraftKings for Jordan Mason, and then on FanDuel, it's going to be 5,800. You're going to play him in cash. I'm leaning, if I got to kick one of these chalk plays out, I'm going to lean kicking Jordan Mason to the curb. And I'll say this. Cincinnati Bengals give up a lot of yards, but they are tied for second with 4 interceptions so far in the season. They've gotten turnovers, and they have really clamped down in the red zone. So, and the offensive line's kind of goofy for Minnesota going up against Trey Hendrickson. So we know Carson Wentz, he's been very bad against pressure, adversity. Any negativity that blows his way, he falls over. I got to take a couple shots there. But and then the one guy I do want to talk about as I'm ranting here, Chase Brown. We talk about Minnesota's defense being really good. They've been very bad against the run. They just got destroyed by Bijan last week. They've been 31st against the run. Brian Flores sets up a lot of stuff, the blitz and all that good stuff. But I know it's different. I know Cincinnati's offensive line has been lackluster, to say the least, being nice. But Chase Brown's in a really nice spot today as well.
Yeah, the Vikings presumably are getting Harrison Smith and Andrew Van Ginkel back this week. I think that was a big part of why they struggled so badly last week, is not having those guys, especially Van Ginkel, who's really a very good player, former Badger. So I do think that helps. Chase Brown's the guy I'm kind of fading because I like Minnesota's normally they got run over last week, but they're normally a very good run defense. I feel like this is a kind of a bounce back spot for them.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, especially with the reinforcements. And this could just be a game that we talk a lot about and not a whole lot happens. We haven't even talked about Justin Jefferson or TJ Hutchison, who right now looks washed. Him and Mark Andrews are sharing a room in the senior center for disabled at this point. It is bad. I mean, both of them look really bad.
Hutchinson's on a milk carton, dude.
Yeah. If you can find them, please call the 1-800 hotline and let us know, inform us. But if you want to play the Carson Wentz stack, it's him, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hutchison. Is that straight and narrow? So the other guy we spoke a little bit about, T. Higgins. I know you brought up playing them together with Jamar Chase. T. Higgins probably just going to be, kicked out of my player pool this week. It's just not where I want to go as far as there's a lot of other plays. This slate is very condensed, where some of these value plays where you feel like you got to play them and build your lineups around them. So outside, I will
say just real quick, because I don't like T. Higgins either, but I don't think anybody does. So I think he's gonna be a very contrarian play if you want to try and get different this week.
Yeah, he's going to be a great, probably a large field tournament play. 6,100 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel he ends up 7,200. This mid-tier wide receiver, which we've lived in that land for a little while now. So outside of that, we got two backup quarterbacks. Are you interested in firing up any of these defenses?
Not really. I think there's other defenses I like better this week. And defense is super cheap this week. The highest is the Packers at 3,700 on DK. It's just there's no pay up defense there's defenses I like, but you don't have to really spend high on any of them. So yeah, I don't necessarily love either of the defenses in this game in particular. There's some other options I kind of like better.
Yeah, there's some other stuff that just seems a little easier to get to. Bengals 2,400, and then the Vikings, wherever they are in the world, they're somewhere up here, 3,400. But if you pay 300 more, you get the Seahawks against New Orleans. You get Green Bay against Joe Flacco experience. We always know how that goes. So, like I said, it feels like we've talked a lot about this game, and I'm not sure a lot of it's going to matter. So we'll see. We'll see. Next game, the Houston Texans and that god-awful offensive line going down technically to Jacksonville to go play the Jaguars. So,
so we've got Houston as a 1.5 point road underdog here. 43.5 is the total. So 21 point implied total for the Texans and 22.5 for Jacksonville. Man, the Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr. thing just looked really dysfunctional last week. And then CJ Stroud just looked awful on Monday night. He just looked terrible. So I don't know that this is probably a spot that, it'll kind of this is probably just a regression in the mean spot, and they'll probably look just fine. And it'll probably turn into a shootout, but I don't love kind of anything in this game. And I don't think that's the way the market's playing this game either. Or I think that's the way the market is playing this game too. It's just nothing super exciting. The Texans defense is really good. Jags defense is not, but it's just the Texans look so just useless on Monday night. It's hard to get to them this week.
This is just the classic AFC South showdown where you just kind of ignore it and do all that stuff. I will say this, Nico Collins, the last 3 games against Jacksonville has absolutely whooped their ass. So I'm pretty interested in tournaments and playing Nico Collins. The target share has been there for him. But like you said, the offensive line has been so bad that the CJ Stroud connection, he had him in the back of the end zone. He just missed him. It seems like CJ Stroud, his accuracy is off, which can't blame him. He's playing in front of a fire of 5 guys who suck. So I do like Nico today. Christian Kirk comes back. Do you have any interest in God's gift to the slot position, Christian Kirk?
I think if you want to get contrarian, if you want to get a little different in your tournament lineups, there's no way I'm starting him in cash, but
you're right.
If you want to, it's just It's a tough spot because he's not a guy I want to jump on in tournaments because he just doesn't score enough touchdowns. And in cash, I'm just not really certain about his role yet. We don't. This is his first game with the team. We just don't know what his role is going to look like. I think it probably should be pretty good, but so he's kind of a tough click. Even though I'm glad he's back. I hope that helps the offense and hope it maybe takes some pressure off of Nico Collins, but I'm not sure that I can get to him in either format.
Yeah. And then on the Jaguar side, Brian Thomas Jr. Nobody called to let me know his wrist hurt. I wish I would have known that before I'd been playing him the last couple weeks. But Trevor Lawrence, I'm just going to come out and say he sucks. Oh, I don't know which way to sugarcoat that. But
it's starting to look like it, man. It's
but
tough to come to any other conclusion.
7,400 for Brian Thomas Jr. on FanDuel and then on DraftKings, 6,400. I thought I had the solver pulled up before, and I've just been doing this and pulling all this stuff up. Nobody's seeing it, so I apologize for that part.
You can see our beautiful faces this morning.
There you go. Change up the monotony a little bit. Travis Hunter is probably going to be playing a little more cornerback because they've had some injuries on that side of the ball. He has looked very mediocre on offense and on defense. Not necessarily a fun start or a fun spot I want to play him. And then the running backs. Nick Chubb had a long run last week to end the game. Seemed like the Buccaneers just kind of laid down and let him score so they could get the ball back. He hasn't looked really great at all. He's been okay. And then Bashal Tutin and Travis Etienne are both splitting time. It looks like the Tutin train is starting to rev up a little bit. Not sure if I want to play any of them here because of the value plays everywhere else, but 4,900 for Tutin on FanDuel, 5,200 on DraftKings, and then ETN ends up being, if I could spell it right, maybe. 7K on FanDuel, and then on DraftKings, he ends up being 5,900. So any interest in the running backs today?
Man, the Tutin train got kind of revved up a lot faster than we thought. Like you said, after the Bigsby trade, he just went right into that number 2 role, scored a touchdown. Looks like the passing down back there. I'm kind of interested in him in tournaments. But yeah, in cash, I'm really not certain of the role for either right now. And then Texans' run defense is very good. Their defense is just good in general. So, they kind of clamped down on Bucky Irving, gave up that late touchdown to Rachaad White, but that was, that wasn't too much. Yeah, that was just a short plunge. So, yeah, Tutin in tournaments. I don't think I can get to either one of these games, guys. It's so hard to just not, when you've got Bijan and McCaffrey at reasonable prices, and then Mason and Ken Walker, it's just really hard to get to any of these other running backs in cash games this week.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I will say I am playing a little bit of Jacksonville defense, 2,800 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel. They are bottom of the barrel there as well. So they are, if I can pull this up maybe. Let's see. They were somewhere.
They are on the list.
3,300. I just skipped by them twice. So I think we just at this point need to skip over this game and just move on to the next one. Another AFC South showdown between two of the titans of the division. The Indianapolis Colts go down the road to Tennessee, where Colts will look pretty good so far. So a lot better than I expected. It is 2 weeks in, so we'll see. But how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, Indy 5 or a 5.5 point favorite, wherever you get your number at. 43.5 is the total in this one. So 24.25 for the Colts, 19.25 for Tennessee. This is Indy's first road game, so we'll see how Daniel Jones holds up. First time they'll be outdoors. First time they'll be outside of the the RCA Dome? What's
Lucas Oil?
Lucas Oil. There you go.
Good grief. That thing got tore down like a decade ago. Come on now.
I'm an old school guy, dude. So can you trust anybody in the Indy passing game? Maybe Tyler Warren at tight end, but I think there's other tight ends I like a lot better this week, especially with Warren being dinged up. So I think it's either Jonathan Taylor or nothing on the Indy side for me. And then I like Calvin Ridley as a contrarian play in tournaments this week. I think they got to get him going.
I do as well. I mean, Tennessee has ran the gauntlet the first 2 weeks as far as defenses go. They played Denver, which I know they haven't been as well as, or played as well as people thought. And then they played believe the Rams last week, which doesn't set up much better. Colts still don't have pass rush. I know the defenses look better than Gus Bradley, but that really does not say much. The pass rush is still terrible. They're not getting there. And I think through 2 weeks, I know it doesn't say in the stats, but Cam Ward has looked good enough. I'll just put it that way. But I'm playing a little bit of Tyler Warren today. And then Jonathan Taylor, the last time he played Tennessee, 218 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Not bad. He looks like going back to the top 3 running back in football. So I'm going to play him and Warren on the Colts side. And then I'm going to be playing Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard has gotten there on just pure volume against 2 defenses that have just shut him down. 6,100 on FanDuel, and then on DraftKings, he's 5,700. So I think his floor is like 15 points right now, just from the pure volume. He finally goes up against a defensive line that's not near as good as Jared Verse and, the whole Broncos game. So I think that is about it on this game.
One thing real quick, with the quarterback situation this week, you've got 5 backup quarterbacks playing. You got no Josh Allen, no Lamar Jackson because they're off the slate, no Patrick Mahomes, they're off the slate. So I think a lot of people, and I don't think a lot of people are playing Hurts because he's the top of the number and top of the salary board, and he hasn't been great for fantasy this year so far. So I think one way, if you want to kind of pivot and get a little different, is to kind of play the kind of lower mid-tier quarterbacks, because everyone else is going to be playing especially in cash, going to be playing the backup, the Brownings and the Mariotas and the guys like that. So if you want to play Cam Ward and just kind of pivot and kind of leverage the way the field is going to be playing, I think Cam Ward's kind of a nice play this week. Indy gave up, 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers against 3 passing touchdowns to 3 different receivers last week.
Yep.
No Jalen Jones. He's on IR. He's their best cornerback. So, I think this is a decent spot for Cam Ward if you want to kind of pivot and leverage off the quarterback situation this week.
Yeah, I do think the offense is going to look a little better than the first 2 weeks for Tennessee. And then Daniel
it's
Jones,
coming. There's a breakout game coming for them.
It's a lot different. On DraftKings, he's much cheaper at 5,400, and then on FanDuel, he's like a top 5 option, I believe, as far as quarterbacks go. Number 3 at 7,800. That is a big discrepancy. So
yeah.
I'd rather play him on DraftKings where he's cheaper.
Yep.
But 20 plus points. They've been running him in the red zone. He's looked pretty good. Weird to say that in 2025 about Daniel Jones, but he's looked the part so far. And then Colts defense is 4,700. I'm not paying for that. There's many other stuff. There are defenses that I'd rather play this week. Both of them are pretty high there. So moving on to the next game, got another barn burner here as the Las Vegas Raiders, I almost called them Oakland, going to Washington on a short week, going to the East Coast. This is a brutal setup for the Raiders facing the Washington Commanders and Marcus Mariota, who was the first round pick in 2015. It feels like it was 2005 at this point, but my just perception of time is just way off. But we'll kick this one off here. The Raiders going East Coast to the Commanders.
Yeah, second East Coast trip in 3 weeks for the Raiders. So especially coming off of a Monday night game, this is a brutal spot for them. 44 is the total, so 20.5 implied for the Raiders, 23.5 for Washington. Marcus Mariota playing against his college coach, Chip Kelly, on the other side. So that's a fun wrinkle in this game. Of the backup quarterbacks who are starting this week, Marcus Mariota at Stone Min 4K, 6K is my favorite by far. I think the field is going to play that way as well, because he's the only one with any real rushing upside. So I do like him. Last time he played was the Carolina game last year where Jaden Daniels got knocked out early. He did target Terry McLaurin pretty heavily. So McLaurin hasn't done jack squat this year, but I think this could be a spot where, he finally kind of shakes off the rust after the holdout and he finally gets going. This is a good spot for him. I think he's going to be pretty contrarian play. I don't think he's going to be very heavily owned. And I do like Zach Ertz this week in the tight end room as well.
Yeah. The Mariota stack with McLaurin and Zach Ertz really opens up a lot if you want to start smashing those running back plays. So Zach Ertz, as far as tight ends go, Brock Bowers, he seems like he's been hurt. Trey McBride, especially if you play him on FanDuel, he's not going to catch a touchdown. He's allergic to the end zone. So it's really hard to start him there. So Tucker Kraft, who's injured, Tyler Warren, and then Zach Ertz sitting right here. He's been getting a lot of receptions. He's done really well in 2 games. So 2 touchdowns so far. Going back to last year, that's what he has been put on earth to do right now is catch touchdowns. So really good spot, I think, for the Commanders at home. And then on the other side, it's not a pretty click, but Jacoby Myers is getting it done every single week.
He's getting targeted super heavily.
5,600 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, he ends up being 6,200. 12 targets, 10 targets. To start off this year, I know Geno Smith did not look good last week. He looked abysmal. That's me being very nice about it. 3 interceptions, but he's been pushing it downfield. And then we'll talk about the running backs real quick. Ashton Genty has not been what he's been cracked up to be. I don't think it's really his fault. This Raiders running program that they are trying to establish has been absolutely horrible. And then Big Bill. Do you have any interest in these running backs this week?
No, not really. I just don't. I'd be interested to see what the active report or the inactive report for Washington. Is Chris Rodriguez going to be active this week? I could see JCM getting some. If this game gets out of hand, I could see him getting some kind of grind the clock out work, but. Yeah, I don't see him having he doesn't get enough touches to be a tournament play. And then like we've said over and over and over, are you starting him again ahead of Ken Walker or Jordan Mason in cash? Just no way. So yeah, I don't know what spot you're going to start him. I will say, just going back to Bowers real quick, Washington looks brutal against tight ends. Like Tucker Kraft just destroyed them last week. Bowers is a tough click because he's been dinged up. He hasn't really done anything yet, and he's the highest priced tight end on the slate. But I can see this being the breakout game because like Washington cannot cover tight ends at all. They're running Bobby Wagner as a 3-down linebacker. He cannot run with a tight end. They don't have a safety who can cover tight ends. Washington's going to be a team that we pick on against tight end. Like once we get to like week 8, week 9, like Washington feels like a team we're just going to look at and say, okay, I'm starting the tight end against the Commanders this week. So this could be the breakout performance for Brock Bowers. Tough click in that he's 6K, and there's a lot of cheap options that I like quite a bit. But I do want to put that out there that this could be a smash game for him.
That's why I said you were the brains on the program. Give it about 4 weeks, and everybody's going to say, play the tight end against Washington. So you're starting the trend there. I think a lot of people are going to pay up for McBride because I know you're not, and we'll get to him in a little bit. But the way that the slate falls, when you jam in the couple running backs, you're going to have a lot of money, and you can't just keep paying up for everywhere else, especially if you punt a quarterback. You might smash one of the running backs and pair them with Mason and Kenneth Walker. We'll get into him in a little bit, but I think people are going to have money. They're going to pay up for defense. They're going to pay up for tight end, but I don't think they're going to pay up all the way for Brock Bowers. So I think that's a really good call there as well. And then Debo, he's been okay. I'll be curious if he gets more run just because Austin Eckler getting hurt. Not that he's going to get 10 more carries out of the backfield, but interested a little bit if you want to play him instead of McLaurin. Yeah. But other than that, I don't think there's much here. And then as far as defenses go, I don't think I'm playing either one of these Commanders or 3K on DraftKings. And then the Raiders going to be bottom of the barrel, 2,300.
Yeah, I'm not touching the Raiders. Washington's interesting in that they'll have a massive rest advantage, right? They'll have the 10-day break coming off the Thursday, and Raiders will be playing short week coming up. So I'm kind of interested in Commanders defense. But again, you need to click. I want some exposure, but I prefer the Seattle defense. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in the Commanders.
Yeah, I know. Before I said we're going to wrap up, but Ashton Genty, real quick, I'm just going to put the case out there. He's given up 2-minute drills to Dylan Laube and Zamir White. He's getting hit behind the backfield. Until we see something different, that's just not a time to be clicking on him, especially this week. So next game, probably the highlight of the early window, the Los Angeles Rams go to Philadelphia. Big road trip to Philadelphia at home, who I thought last year it couldn't be any worse for the passing attack. And sure enough, we show up this year and it's somehow worse. But
it's worse.
God. But a lot of interesting stuff in this game, though. I hate to say it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of surprised this is an early window game. It seems like this would be a game they would have flexed into the late window. But because, I think it's the most probably the most attractive game of the day, really. Rams 3.5-point road underdogs, 44.5 total. So 20.5 implied total for the Rams, 24 implied total for Philly. There's a lot to like in this game, but there's reason to think this game just gets really ugly and it turns into like a 20-13 kind of game. So it's like Saquon's. It's how do you like? You can start Hurts for sure. He's the highest price quarterback on the slate. So you can certainly start him and think he gets a couple rushing touchdowns, maybe throws one. But man, this like Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, talk about guys on milk cartons. They just have completely disappeared. I don't get that at all. So maybe this is. It feels like their new offensive coordinator just isn't very good, and this is going to be a replay of. Was it 2023 when they had to replace both their coordinators and neither one of them worked out? So hopefully they kind of get things going, but yeah, it's been very disappointing so far. Rams side, Kyren Williams is a tough start, but I like Puka and I like Devontae. And remember this Rams team almost beat Philly. Like this was Philly. The Rams was the toughest game Philly had in the entire playoffs last year. So. Yep. And I think if it hadn't snowed in that game, I think the Rams probably would have won. So yeah, I like Puka and Devontae both in this game. But I don't know how you get to the Philly receivers. Although Goddard's back, he's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So the last two games they played in the regular season, then they played in the playoffs, just like you noted. Saquon hit him the first time for 302 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then the second game, he went for 232 and 2 touchdowns. I don't know what happens against the Rams defense that is very good. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, I believe, was questionable. But, I mean, Saquon.
Sounds like he's going to play.
Yeah, Saquon just runs him over. And then on the other side, I think it's Puka Nacua for me. I think it's two guys I want to play. I want to play Saquon, and I want to play Puka. I'm going to take those two from this game, and then I'll move on. Building my lineup around there. Puka ends up being 7,700, a little cheaper than CeeDee Lamb, who is in a monster spot we'll get to. Nico, I mean, it's really CeeDee Lamb and Puka Nacua, and people are going to play CeeDee Lamb because of that game, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And then as far as, Saquon is right here. He's going to be third cheapest on DraftKings. Christian McCaffrey, it's him and Ricky Pearsall and McCorkle. And then Bijan Robinson going up against the Panthers defense for lack thereof, and then Jonathan Taylor. So yep. I don't know what has happened to the Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. I'm going to pray about it. And other than that, I mean, it's brutal. It is like embarrassing. It's so dumb that it seems like the Eagles offense is just the same thing every year with a different coordinator. It's, Jalen Hurts throws the same 3 balls. He runs around a little bit. They do the tush push. They win 20-14. Kind of hang around, and that's it. And I don't think you could double stack Jalen Hurts if you even want to play it that way to be contrarian. If you do, I mean, you got some cojones on you, and I applaud that. But I'm going to play Saquon. I'm going to play Puka together, and then that's all I'm going to take from this game. And that's honestly really about it for me. If you're going to play Puka and Devontae Adams, I don't want to play Matthew Stafford because he's got to have like 4 touchdowns to really pay off. So I think you can play the wide receivers together and don't have to play Matthew Stafford. If you want to, do Mariota or one of those guys and just kind of do it that way, I think that's fine too. So we talked about Kyren a little bit. He's given up some stuff to Blake Corum that is very worrisome, especially in season long. And then I'm not playing any of these defenses. So unless you have anything else on this game, I think we will skedaddle and move along.
Yeah, just on Underdog this week, I'm not stacking Jalen Hurts at all. I'm taking a lot of Jalen Hurts because I think he's going too late in the draft DFS, but I'm not stacking him at all. I'm just fine. I'm fine taking him naked. Like if you want to take him with Saquon, I think that's okay. I don't love it, but I think that's okay. But yeah, I'm not stacking him with Devonta or AJ Brown. Just occasionally with Dallas Goedert as a late pick tight end. I think that's okay. But yeah, I got to see it first. I got to see it from the Philly wide receivers before I can start doing it.
Yeah.
I need proof of concept.
I do as well. So it just, and I'll say this, I would not be surprised. I think I'm going to bet the Rams to win today. I mean, I think they cover, but
it wouldn't shock me. No.
So I think the Rams win today, but move on to the next game. Atlanta Falcons on the road, 5.5-point favorites going to Carolina, which is week 3, and the Panthers look absolutely abysmal. Very bad already look like they're on pace for the number 1 pick overall to get a new quarterback, but we'll see. Couldn't be a better setup for Bijan, could it?
Not really. A little nervous about Tyler Algier, but let's get the numbers in. Atlanta is a 5-point road favorite in this one. 44 is the total. 24.5 implied total for the Panthers. 19.5 for Carolina. So that's a little bit kind of surprised that their number is that high, actually. As well as the Atlanta defense has played. I don't think the Atlanta defense is that great, but I don't necessarily think Carolina is the team that can take advantage of it. So yeah, I'm full fading Drake London because this looks like a team that just wants to run the ball and play defense. I think that defense is a little bit of a paper tiger, but I don't think the Panthers are the team that can exploit that. So yeah, I think this is just Bijan, probably get some Tyler Algier to kind of give him a rest. So I think Algier is a viable kind of tournament play because I could see it cheap tournament play because I could see him especially in FanDuel because I could see him like him getting 2 touchdowns and Bijan getting 1 or something like that. So I don't mind that, but yeah, it's smash Bijan. I kind of like Tet McMillan this week because I could see them in a hurry up situation where it's just they have to throw all game because they're down 14 the entire time. Kind of like they were last week. And hasn't scored a touchdown yet, but he's getting super highly targeted. So that's the only thing I'm interested in the Carolina side. No real interest in Chuba Hubbard this week.
Yeah, AJ Terrell is out for Atlanta defense as well, so that sets up really nice. McMillan, 9 targets, 10 targets, 11.8, 19 points. That's without a touchdown.
Without a touchdown, yep.
It's coming for him. Xavier Legette is questionable. I don't know if that helps or hurts the offense at this point.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. I just maybe some more targets for McMillan here. I will say this. Bijan is in a really good spot, and it's not that I'm fading him. I'm worried that they plummet Atlanta so bad that they don't need him to hit his ceiling compared to Christian
CMC
McCaffrey.
is my RB1 this week just because of that concern that they just call off the dogs a little bit and let Tyler Algier run wild in the second half.
I mean, Saquon is going to be a much better game environment. That is my only worry as far as this. But I was kind of excited to get contrarian and play like the Michael Penix doubles with Drake London. I'm going to throw out Kyle Pitts. I'm going to say Kyle Pitts is a decent flyer at tight end this week. I know nobody wants to hear that. You can, if you need to leave the program and just come back in a minute, I understand. But I mean, of course, that's not going to work at the moment. But he's been okay. If he catches a touchdown, he will pay off. Seems like he's a little bit healthier. But I mean, I just worry that the Panthers aren't going to push it. That is my problem. I'm going to be playing a lot of Atlanta defense. I don't think they're that great either. I know you said that, but Carolina is down a couple offensive linemen. Bryce Young I don't know, man. He had a good 8-week run and then just kind of fell off. So that's really about it. And that's kind of sad because I was really excited about Carolina and I thought they'd be a sleeper team, but they just regressed back to what they were when everybody made fun of them and dumped on them all the time.
Yeah, I think you brought up a really good point about Carolina being down those Robert Hunt and Austin Corbett in the middle of their offensive line. That's as your center near right. That was the reason that Chuba Hubbard was so good last year, is because they had a really good run blocking offensive line. Now they're down, 40% of that. So yeah, I think you got a full pivot off of Chuba Hubbard at this point. I don't mind Bryce Young and Tet McMillan stacks just because I could see this getting out of hand, and they just I could see Bryce Young throwing 45 times in this game.
I think he threw 59 last week, excuse me. Or 55.
55, yeah.
Excuse me, four off. Same thing. It's still, I don't think he brought any 26 points on 55 attempts. I mean, if Joe
That's
Burrow,
rough, but 26 points is 26 points.
I mean, if Joe Burrow threw for 55 times, he'd have 90 points. So that's the difference between Bryce Young and, a guy like that. So next game here, pretty ugly again. Pittsburgh Steelers on the road. New England, Drake May kind of set up nicely last week against Miami. We'll see if that is, the real deal or not. And then the Steelers had the awesome week 1. Come a little bit of regression, come back to the normal selves. Aaron Rodgers' experience seems to be going well as always in Pittsburgh. So How are you feeling about this one? How this game sets up?
Yeah, Pittsburgh, a small road favorite here, either a point or a point and a half. 44 is the total, so 22.5 implied for Pittsburgh, 21.5 for New England. I think this sets up as a really nice Jaylen Warren game.
Hell yeah.
But other than that, like, again, we talked about the quarterbacks. If Drake May is one of those guys you want to start just to get different, I don't mind that. But there's really nothing on the New England side that I'm super interested in. It's like I'm not really interested in anything. I guess DK Metcalf has 49 touchdowns, and Rodgers is tied now with Brett Favre for all-time number 4 on the all-time passing touchdown list. So I think they'll probably force one to DK Metcalf, but other than that, I think it's Jaylen Warren, and that's really the only thing I'm super interested in. Like, but I can't get there at that salary. That's really tough.
Yeah. You sure that they're not going to scheme something up to Ben Skoranek or
they might
Johnny Smith for the illustrious
Darnell Washington? That could be.
Oh, yeah. The glorified offensive lineman that catches one touchdown a year. Good grief.
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers came out this week and said that he wants to get Jaylen Warren some more targets. New England has bled targets to the running back so far through 2 weeks. This, it sets up really nice for Jaylen Warren. I've thought about having him as one of my flag plants this week. I'm not going to, but I'm going to be starting Jaylen Warren with confidence, and I think he gets 15, 20 points. Especially Caleb Johnson, the rookie, bobbled a return, and then they brought up some, retread running back. So I think the Caleb Johnson experience is on hold temporarily. So Jaylen Warren sets up.
I think he's dead until unless there's an injury to that's almost unforgivable just to not understand the rules of a kickoff. Like a guy like Tomlin is just not going to tolerate something like that. And especially when you've got a Kenny Gainwell coach's pet kind of guy.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Caleb's dead. I think he's just dead probably for the year. That's brutal.
Yeah, especially with Aaron Rodgers, the career criminal. I'm sure he had something to say about that as well. But Drake May looked really good. Kayshon Boutte caught a touchdown last week, but you can play Drake May against the Steelers defense that has been god-awful through 2 weeks. The steel curtain has been ripped down and broken. The defense looks slow. Problem is, if you play Drake May, I don't know who to play him with. None of his wide receivers.
You got to play him naked.
Yeah. I've tried the Hunter Henry experience the last 2 weeks. It has not gone well. I don't recommend. And then Stephon Diggs, he's been spraying and praying. Going to be a dad to Cardi B's kid. I don't know what Cardi B, but apparently that's a big deal. And then outside of that, it's Boutte and then Demario Douglas. Those are just not clicks I'm going to get to as far as that goes. So I think Drake May is kind of interesting, but the problem is you feel like if you're going to play him, you want to stack him with somebody. He had 26 points last week.
I'm okay playing him naked, dude. He's a guy who can run around enough. He can score a rushing touchdown and just throw to 2 different receivers and still kind of get there. So I'm okay playing him naked if you want to go that way.
Yeah, and that's really about it. Ramondre took some stuff from Travion Henderson. Seemed like he had a big week last week, but just not a click, especially on this slate we've talked about with these running backs. A lot of them are coming, we'll be talking about here in a minute, but I think that's about it on this game. Patriots defense, I think, is okay in tournaments and no Christian Gonzalez, but other than that, I think that's about it for this game. So Joel's favorite portion of the week coming up, the Green Bay Packers on the road, the greatest team in the NFL of all time right now, going up against Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns. So have at it.
I need you to talk me off the ledge because I'm really worried about this game. I just looked up the number. This number has gone down from 8.5 to 7.5, right? Sitting right now. So Packers 7.5 point road favorites. 41 is the total. So that's gone down as well. So 24.25 implied total for the Packers, 16.75 for Cleveland. Man, am I just an overly nervous Nelly Packer fan thinking this could be an early season trap game? Dude, I'm really worried about this game. Everybody says that they're just going to stomp Cleveland. Cleveland's defense is legit. They have been as good as the Packers have. They've been let down by their special teams and some bad turnovers. I'm super nervous about this game.
I wish if I was more tech savvy, I would share my notes that I have on this game. My very first line, greatest team of all time right now in Green Bay in a sneaky trap spot in my eyes.
Yep. I agree 100%. I'm very nervous about this game. If I had to bet this game, I would take Cleveland to cover. Now, the good thing is, like, LaFleur and Micah Parsons have been in the media as like sucking on the you-know-what of Myles Garrett, as well they should, because that dude can wreck a game. Like I said, Cleveland's defense has been legitimately good. Their special teams have been awful. They've had some really bad turnovers that have put them in bad spot. They completely shut down the Bengals with Joe Burrow in week 1. So, yeah, I think it's a very good defense. The Packers need to be ready to play in this game. Now, the one good thing is, like, how is Cleveland going to score in this game? Because you can't run on the Packers right now, and Joe Flacco is a complete statue, and they are destroying quarterbacks. So, but, like, if you don't get turnovers against Cleveland, like, they can matriculate. Sounds like Quinshon Judkins is going to get the full workload this week.
Yeah,
I'm not starting him in DFS at all, but so yeah, I would have loved just getting back to DFS and not focusing on the game so much. My inner Luke Musgrave stan was just dying to jump this week, and with Kraft on the injury list, and now it sounds like he's going to play. So I still got a few lineups with Musgrave in just because he's so cheap, and like, I could see him, if Kraft has to sit out a play or something like that, I could see Musgrave getting a touch. Like, for the tight ends this year, if you just get a touchdown, you're probably a top 10 tight end for the week. So I can see that paying off. I don't like Jacobs at all. Cleveland's run defense has been fantastic. I'm not touching him in DFS whatsoever. There's just too many better options. He really hasn't done. He's fallen into the end zone twice. He's got 2 touchdowns, but he's only getting like 60 yards rushing a game. He's not involved in the passing game like I thought he would be. One sneaky kind of tournament play is Matthew Golden, because they have been trying to get him involved, and they have just missed on a couple long bombs that would have been like, I think he would have had like a 92-yard touchdown that Love just missed him on. Remember that Love missed a week of training camp after that thumb injury after the first preseason game. So he's just kind of ramping up as well. So if they can kind of get on the same page, I could see him kind of, I could see a 2 touchdown game for any one of these receivers, honestly, but whether it's Wicks or Dobbs or Golden. So if I'm playing this game, it's through the Packers passing, but I'm really kind of staying away from this game, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I try to do, because, I mean, the Browns' run defense has stuffed Derrick Henry and Chase Brown into a locker to start the year. Yeah. I mean, it's very impressive what they've done. Of course, it's Cleveland. Joe Flacco's thrown some interceptions that, honestly, for the most part, most of them haven't been his fault. They've been like tip drill type of stuff if you watch the games. The problem is I don't know if I can play any of them in fantasy. I'd rather have Cedric Tillman over Jerry Jeudy if I had to pick one. I tried to build some Jordan Love doubles with Tucker Kraft and Matthew Golden. I think Wicks and Romeo Dobbs. It's going to be large field play. Those are not plays that I ever get to, because I play, I play 5-7 max, and then I don't have like the big player pool I need because I don't play in bigger contests like that. But Matthew Golden, I think, is very interesting. You hit it on last week. I made a bet on my Rider Dynasty show over at Fantasy Frames. Shout out JJ, who's in the chat this morning. Matthew Golden over on his yards. And it didn't get there, but the air yards, he had like 4 million of them. Yeah. They are, like you said, they are trying. I think Matthew Golden is a very fun tournament play this week, because it's going to happen, and it's going to be, it's going to be big when it happens. So, like I said, I tried to build some Jordan Love stuff. It didn't really sim well. Didn't really like it, so I think I might just stay away from this game. But it's kind of there, because I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to be the play that, especially on this slate, I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to be a guy that I'm going to get to. And I think if the Packers are going to win, they're going to have to win through Jordan Love. So sounds like we don't really have much on this game. I think Packers defense is viable going up against Joe Flacco, but you're paying the price. Sure. You're paying $3,700 on DraftKings, and I'm sure they're going to be $5K over on FanDuel as well. So, yep.
Even at $3,700 though, at DK, that's not that bad for a defense that legitimately could get half a dozen sacks.
Right.
And that could turn into some turnovers. So Flacco's just an absolute statue, and this is a defensive line that can get after it. So yeah, I'm willing. It's tough when the Seahawks are sitting right there, right behind them, but I do want some exposure to the Packers defense this week.
Yep. So That's about it. It seems like we're both on the same page. A little bit of a trap game, a little bit hard to try to get there as far as playing anybody. It's a very weird slate. I'll be pretty blunt about it. So,
Yeah, this is our only 13 game slate, honestly, until week 15. So,
yep.
It's as big a slate as we're going to see.
Next game here, the New York Football Jets on the road at Tampa, who is just wheeling and dealing injuries right now. Everybody on their team has died or broke a leg or is out for a very long time. So this game looked a lot prettier on paper last week than it does right now. I think we will see on Bucks offensive linemen. They're down at least 2. It might be 3. So we'll see when.
Might be 4.
Might be 4. God.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's anything for you to pull from this game, but if you got anything, lay it on us.
Yeah, we got the Jets. I've got the Jets as 5.5 point road dogs. That's come down from 6.5 that you've got that opened at 6.5, probably because of all the injuries, like you mentioned. So 44.5 total, 19.5 implied for the Jets, 25 for Tampa. I wanted to smash this game. Buka sounds like he's going to play. So he was questionable. Like when he was questionable, like I was jumping on Mike Evans. But now it sounds like Ibuka's going to play. He's taking all of Evans. So I still think they're going to force feed Evans a touchdown in this game. They were trying to on Monday night, didn't quite get there. But Bucky Irving's a tough start with as much work as Rachaad White got on Monday night. That seems like that's becoming closer to the split it was last year. So yeah, Evans is the only kind of spot that I'm really looking to start in this game. I don't love Baker in this game. Like I want to pick on the Jets defense, but I'm really concerned about the Bucks. Like you turn over like 60 to 80% of your offensive line in a week. That's tough work, man. So especially against a defense that had, it's got Quinnen Williams. It's got some good players on it. So yeah, I think they're underperforming. So I'm very nervous about the Bucks this week. And I'm not starting anyone on the Jets with Tyrone Taylor.
Yeah, I was very interested in playing the Baker double this week, and then offensive linemen just kept dropping like flies. So I know Baker Mayfield has been running a little bit just because these offensive line, but he's going to be the second highest quarterback on FanDuel, and then on DraftKings he's going to be right up there as well. So you got to pay up for him behind a brutal offensive line, and then it gets really condensed with Ibuka and Mike Evans. But you got Sauce Gardner on the other side, who's been playing pretty well so far this year. And then it's just the Jets. Like Tyrod Taylor is in for Justin Fields. I've said Breece Hall was a great tournament play last week. That hit me in the head with a frying pan. They were absolutely god-awful. And then Bucky Irvin has been splitting some stuff with Rachaad White. It has been a total split, but I mean, Rachaad White got a late touchdown last week on Monday Night Football. So I think I'm just going to stay away from this game. I think I wish Kalijah Cansey was not out for the year because I would love to play Buccaneers defense, and I think he still can. But I mean,
I think he still can. Yeah,
3,500. I mean, if you're going to play him, you're going to pay up for him. And there's just some other places I'd rather play Buccaneers defense. A little cheaper on FanDuel, it's 4K instead of 5, but on DraftKings they're right up there. So it just gets really tough. Cade Otton, he's fine. I was more interested in him if Ibuka was not going to play, but it seems like he is. So Garrett Wilson, any interest? Yeah.
I can't get there on the Jets. No, it's just too many. Again, this is a 13-game slate. There's too many good options this week for me to trust a Tyrod Taylor-led offense again on the road against a pretty good defense.
Yeah, so thinking about you, JJ. Hope your Jets get better, but I don't know, man. Times are tough right now. So that is it for the early window of the portion. If you're tuning in, like I say, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, let us know. Like and subscribe to the channel. Got to do the cheap plug there, but we'll get into the afternoon slate with the biggest game of the afternoon is what a lot of these lineups are going to be built on. The Dallas Cowgirls on the road going to Chicago. So a lot of stuff to like here.
Yeah, for sure. Cowboys right now at a 1-point favorite on the road. 50-point total in this game. So highest total on the DFS slate. 25.5 implied total for the Cowboys, 24.5 for Chicago. Take your pick, man. CeeDee Lamb, Roma Dunze feels like a free spot or free square, honestly, at his price. CeeDee Lamb, we talked about forcing touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb doesn't have a touchdown, but you know that they're going to try and get him one this week. So I think he's in an absolute smash spot. Neither one of these defenses are any good whatsoever. They both gave up 40 plus last week. Dallas scored 40. Was it 40-37? So they gave up 37 to the Giants. Bears gave up a 50 spot to Detroit. Yeah, whatever. I hate Javonte Williams, but I think he's viable in this game. I'm not touching Devontae Swift because he's injured, and I don't think the Bears are going to need to run. I think just be throwing it. Either the quarterbacks are in play. I think Dak is going to be very highly owned this week. But yeah, I mean, Pickens is fine. DJ Moore is probably in a good spot.
Yep.
Take your pick. Whatever you want from this game. It's a smorgasbord.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of everything. A lot of people are going to play. They're just going to pick and choose their parts through this. DJ Moore, I think, will be the outside running backs will be the guy that is less clicked out of these players. I mean, Cowboys defense just gave up 450 yards to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson cooked a 5-course meal against his secondary. Trayvon Diggs is questionable. Deron Bland is not playing. Caleb Williams, he's been fine. I know a lot of people like to pick on him and stuff, but he's been okay. I don't think he's been the greatest quarterback of all time, but I don't think it's all his fault. It's not a better spot than this. If you want to just stack the entire game, I get it. For me, I love playing the Dak Prescott triple, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. Bring Roma Dunze on the ride on the other side of the program. I tried clicking on the Chicago tight ends, Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet. I don't think I can do it. Colston Loveland, they drafted him in the first round, and they just don't play him. So
he's not getting targets. He's not getting targets at all.
1 target, 2 targets. So Ryan Poles, GM of the year. Nobody smarter.
Unquestionably.
Yeah. Nobody. We're going to take the North back and never give it up, which they haven't taken shit back, but whatever, pal. Whatever.
Good luck with all that.
Yeah. I know you said you didn't like Javonte Williams, but Javonte Williams has been on tear.
No, I think Javonte's okay. I don't like DeAndre Swift in this game. But yeah,
right.
I'm fine with Javonte.
19.
I don't like him as a player, but it's a good spot for him.
Yeah, and that's the way to get contrarian on this slate. Yeah. Javonte Williams instead of going through the passing game. And then DeAndre Swift, I mean, he's the last guy left. But, man, this running portion of the program for Chicago has looked brutal. I mean, 12 points on 12 attempts, 8 points on 17 carries. God. But I don't know. Bears.
My problem with Javonte is, I think you want to attack the Bears through their secondary, right? They're missing Jalen Johnson. He's out for potentially the year. Kyler Gordon is still hurt. And we just saw Jared Goff put up 5 passing TDs against them last week. I think the way you want to attack them is through the air. So, and I think that's what Dallas is going to do.
Yeah. Chicago, real quick. Chicago Bears defense might be the worst in football. I mean,
it's bad.
It is an atrocity. I don't think Pereira can fix that. But last thing, large field tournament play, Vontae Turpin has gotten a little bit of run. I will bring that up going up against the secondary. They can scheme something up for him. I don't think you have to do that in small field, but I do think he's gotten enough touches to where it kind of opens your eyes here. But you're just going to pick and choose. Like I said, my portion of my way of doing this is going to be through the Dak triples today. I'm going to play Lamb, George Pickens, and Jake Ferguson, and then I'll probably bring Roma Dunze on the ride on the other side. But it's going to be owned. If you're going to play this game, it's going to be owned. Yeah. Understand that, and especially if you play Kenneth Walker or Jordan Mason, those chalk running backs, you're going to have a lot of ownership. You're going to have to get different somewhere in those 2 or 3 spots that you have left on your roster. So anything else you have on this game?
No. Yeah. It's we'll talk about it a little bit when we get to the Chargers game. This game is going to be the ownership on this game is going to be very high. So you're going to need to find some pivot points.
Yeah. And it's not saying not to play it. I mean, if you got a matchup like this, play it. Just make sure you understand that you and a lot of people are going to come to the dance wearing the same outfit. So you got to have different shoes, different bling on your ears, whatever it takes. So another guy who a lot of people will be wearing the same stuff to the dance, Kenneth Walker, the Saints on the road, going up to the Pacific Northwest, going up against Seahawks. Seems like Kenneth Walker might be 400% owned today. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I don't know. A lot of ownership for him. I don't know. Let's talk about it. Saints at the Seahawks.
Yeah, Saints 7.5-point road dogs in this one. 41.5 is the total. So Vegas does not think that the Saints can score at all in this one. 17 is their implied total. 24.5 for Seattle. No Zach Charbonnet. So yeah, this is. I think the only spots that are not going to have Kenneth Walker in their lineups are people who set their lineups early and didn't just, got distracted on Sunday morning, or you didn't go back and fix their lineups. I think he is going to be 80% owned in cash, probably. I mean, it's an even better game spot than, he's a little bit more expensive, but it's a much better game script than Jordan Mason, who we thought was going to be 65% owned. So
right.
Yeah, Walker's ownership is going to be crazy. I still love JSN in cash. I think he's he's a free square in cash games because he gets so many targets. He's such a huge part of his passing game. Even with the illness, I'm not pivoting off him in cash whatsoever. He's done all that, 44 points without a touchdown so far. So just if he gets in the end zone, he's an absolute smash. So yeah, I love him in cash. The New Orleans side, I don't mind Kamara, but there's so many better options, I think. And then I really like Juwan Johnson at tight end.
Yeah. JSN has got a target share of 44% through 2 games.
Insane.
And he's going to go for the first Seattle wide receiver to start 3 games with 100 yards in each game. Yeah. So, I mean, Cooper Kupp, I believe, has double digit, him and JSN are target shares over 10% right now. So, I mean, it's been the JSN show. You don't have to play Torrey Horton, AJ Barner, any of those guys. It's just JSN. And I think JSN is a great pivot to Kenneth Walker if you want to play it through that way as well today, especially in tournaments. Alvin Kamara, the Saints players have been fine. I know the Seattle defense has been really good, and they've been doing it through their front 4. They've not been blitzing at all and still getting there. They're getting a lot of pressure against Spencer Rattler. Chris Olave, like I said, I don't know if he's still leading the league in medical tent visits, but he's been okay. Like, he hasn't caught a touchdown, but I mean, 10 targets, 13 targets, 11, 12. He's been okay. Rashid Shaheed had a goofy game, and then he had a pretty decent game. 15 points, he caught a touchdown. I don't know if you need to get there this week. And then Alvin Kamara, he's been fine too. He's getting a lot of run. The Kellen Moore offense, they play with a lot of tempo and they get a lot of plays off. I don't know if it sets up that way this week against Seattle, but I mean, they're trying to push it. Spencer Rattler has been rattled, to say the least. But I mean, Kamara's been okay. These guys, I don't know if you need to do them, but if you just want to save floor for a couple points, I don't mind having one of these guys on the other side for the Seattle. And then last thing on this game, I'm not playing Sam Darnold here, but Seahawks defense.
Seahawks defense. Yep.
Yeah. 3,600 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, they are 4,800. So if you're going to have some money, you want to pair Kenneth Walker with Seattle defense, I think that's totally viable, but probably going to have some ownership. Just going to give you a heads up there. So
yeah, it's Spencer Rattler on the road for the first time. It's a very good. I like Kamara. I think he's fine. I like Juwan Johnson a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints got shut out in this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Seahawks defense is a good play. So 2 more games left. The Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray visit McCorkle Jones and the 49ers. I know we're running a little late. I got one thing to say before we get into the game. So Kyler Murray this week, just because I need to take my shots at Kyler, decided to post a picture this week of him wearing an old school college Virginia Tech Michael Vick jersey. And it's got a picture of one of those big-ass roided up like pit bull dogs, and just didn't have the brain cells to put 2 and 2 together. That's probably not a good thing to do. So he had to come out and do the apology tour. But I mean, if you look in the dictionary for the word dumbass, the perfect example would be Kyler Murray. What a dipshit, man. But anyways, Cardinals playing the 49ers. A little interesting. How do you feel about it? I had to take my shot at Kyler. I think he's the biggest moron in the world. So
if there was ever a player who needed a PR manager, it's Kyler Murray.
Yeah. God.
Unbelievably dumb. Yeah, so Arizona 2-point road dog in this one, 45.5 total, 21.75 implied total for the Cardinals, 23.75 implied total for the 49ers. It's just CMC. That's all I really care about in this game is CMC. Like I know a lot of people are on McBride. I don't want McBride at all. I have almost 0 shares of McBride in on Underdog. I have none in DFS. It's like the guy doesn't score touchdowns, and now you're going to get like I'd never want to start tight ends against San Francisco when Fred Warner is healthy.
Yep.
So yeah, this is the game that McBride is going to get off the schneid and score a touchdown. Now I say this, and he's probably going to score 2, but yeah, I don't like McBride at all. I'd rather pay up to Bowers. I think he's in a better spot. I'd rather pay down to like Juwan Johnson, to Ferguson, to Musgrave, and Kraft. Zach Ertz I like better. There's just so many better tight. I like Pitts better than, honestly, I like Pitts better at his price than McBride this week. So I'm not playing him, and you can't trust Marvin Harrison. So I don't. Yeah, and Kyler hasn't been good this year. He hasn't at all. He's not paying off his salary whatsoever. So I don't like this. And again, it's just not a spot that I want to start the Cardinals in. So yeah, this is CMC, and that's really it for me. Especially Juwan Jennings not going to play it, right? He's questionable. I'm not.
It doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it. No big cock Brock Purdy for the 49ers. I'm just going to come out and say it. I will have a Mac Jones double with CMC and Ricky Pearsall, because that is the only viable people. Real quick, what kind of drugs you got to be on to name your kid McCorkle? That's not a joke. That's real life. You Wikipedia that's his middle name.
That is. Yep.
But anyways, I mean, Mac Jones looked pretty good last week and he ends up being a little bit more pricey than the punt tight ends, but 21 points. Not like you're giving up a whole lot of salary. Just going to dump it off to Christian McCaffrey, and then Ricky Pearsall is in a really good spot at a really good price. So 5,600 on FanDuel. I mean, that mid-tier is usually around 7K. So for him to be 5,600, 5,500 over on the DraftKings app. So, I mean, Iggy, good morning to you. He agrees with me, so I appreciate it.
What's up, brother?
I like Mac Jones. I think he's going to do good. We'll see about Juwan Jennings. If he's in, I'm very interested in playing him as well. But it just seemed he didn't practice all week. It's been very iffy. His shoulder hurts. His leg hurts. His heart hurts. I don't know. It's been all over the place. The one guy we didn't talk about, I played the last 2 weeks. I'm going to retire from real quick. James Conner, giving way too much work up to Trey Benson in the passing game. And I just don't think this is a spot for him to do that. 12 and 14, which has been fine. But, I mean, 6,500 on DraftKings, FanDuel, 7,500. That is a lot of money. Pay up for James Conner when you have Kenneth Walker, the one-man show, the one-man band. And then last thing on this game, I'm interested in 49ers defense. The Cardinals, this offense, it's just the same thing as they copy and pasted the same exact offense from last year to this year. And Kyler Murray, another year dumber, more brain cells lost. So that's my last shot. I'm going to get out of here. Anything else on this game before we move on, before I get us kicked off the air?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
So last game, a very interesting one. A divisional round for the AFC West. The Denver Broncos go to LA and face the Chargers. I mean, Chargers right now look like the team to beat in the AFC, or one of them at least. So how are we feeling about this game?
Yeah, Denver, a 3 or 2.5 point road dog, 45.5 point total in this one. So one of the higher, I think the second highest total of the week, tied with the Niners. So 21.25 implied total for Denver, 24.25 for the Chargers. It's Denver defense, man, for a team that we thought was going to be the number one defense in the league coming into the year, has not been great. Gave up 300 yards and a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown to Daniel Jones last week.
Yep.
I'm going to repeat that. They gave up 300 yards to Daniel Jones last week.
Okay, one more time for the viewers. Just
the Denver Broncos defense allowed 300 passing yards to Daniel Jones last week. So yeah, I think Herbert's probably my favorite quarterback this week. I'm totally fine playing him unstacked, just because like he can get there with his legs. He's got 3 different receivers he's throwing the ball to. So I'm fine playing Herbert naked if you want to. I actually have a ton of Herbert naked. I like, again, another guy I think they're going to try and force a touchdown to is Ladd McConkey. I can see the breakout game for him is coming. It's not going to be all Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen. I think at some point and like Denver, their weak spot in the passing game is slot receivers. So I think this is a good spot for both Keenan Allen, a better spot for Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey than it is for Quentin Johnston this week. I'm not touching the Chargers running backs because they don't. Chargers are the highest pass rate over expectation team in the league by like almost double the second team that were the Chiefs. So yeah, I'm just not getting there with the running backs. Chargers defense has been pretty good. I think I'm okay with, again, if you want to just play J.K. Dobbins as I'm going to get 60 yards and a short touchdown. I'm okay with that. But yeah, otherwise I don't love the Denver side in this one. But again, we talked about that, how heavily owned that Dallas Chicago game is. If you want to kind of pivot and leverage what the field is going to do, I think this is a good place to go. If you want to if you go into the late slate and you're behind and you want to make some late swaps, this is the game I'm going to be swapping to instead of the Dallas Chicago game, just because that game is going to be so heavily owned already. If you need to get different, if you need to kind of pull yourself up from behind, this is the game I'm going to be pivoting to.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the late swap analysis there, because that's what the slate is about. I mean, you have CMC in the late window. You have all the Bears, Cowboy girl stuff. This game's going to kind of get forgotten about. Justin Herbert can get 3 wide receivers there. They did it for the second half of the year last year. Keenan, Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey. I think both of us are in agreement. Ladd McConkey sets up really nice. And then run game for the Chargers, like you said, has been absolutely abysmal. Amarian Hampton has not looked great. Najee Harris doesn't look much better either. I'm not going to play Tyler Conklin, but I mean, he is a punt tight end, probably more of a DraftKings play, to be quite honest, than a FanDuel play. But I mean, Justin Herbert looks like a top 5, maybe top 3 quarterback right now, the way he's playing. I don't think that's too much of an exaggeration.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, he's looked really good. And
he's playing at an MVP level right now.
Yeah, he's looked really good against the Broncos, who I think 2 weeks in, a little shaky, but people still probably think this Broncos defense is elite. It has not played elite through 2 games. It has not been good at all. Broncos side, kind of want to go back to Courtland Sutton. I played him a lot last week, got burned very badly. And I think, and of course, nobody's going to play him. But especially, 1.6 points when I play him, that's about on par for a Jameson Hutchison experience here. But especially if they get in a game script where they have to come back from behind, I don't think Troy Franklin's going to be the guy who gets them over the hump. I think it's going to be through Courtland Sutton. I believe Evan Ingram is hurt or retired or didn't show up.
He's out for the game. Yep.
Yeah, who hasn't been good to begin with. Marvin Mims, I'm just not going to get there. But Bo Nix, I think, is a very interesting tournament play as well, just because he can get there on his legs. Like I said, he has not been good through 2 games. I mean, he went up against Tennessee, looked pretty shaky, and then the Colts looked shaky. Maybe it's just an AFC South thing. They give him the bug, but 21 points last week in a game they should have won. I mean, especially only 3 attempts rushing-wise, but I mean, if he gets in a game script where they shoot out or he has to come back from behind, they have to put that on his back. I think he could do it. So this game's really interesting. I think it's a really fun one. I'm playing Herbert stuff today, and it sounds like you are as well. So
I've got a ton of Herbert this week. Yep. Stacked and unstacked.
Yep. So outside of that, I don't think I'm playing. Khalil Mack is out for the Chargers. I don't think I'm getting to the defenses here. So unless you have anything else, I think that is about it.
That's it. I think we covered it.
So before we leave, biggest portion of the program, flag plants. I'll be honest, for me this week it was really hard to not have somebody that everybody's playing and to not seem like I'm so off the beaten path. I'm just like throwing shit at a wall. But I'll let you go first as a guest to let me know who your flag plant number 1 is for the week.
I'm going back to the same well I went to last week. That's CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, he's going to be very heavily owned. I know that. I'm not breaking any new ground here, but 24 targets. He said through 2 games, 110 and 112 yards receiving, hasn't scored a touchdown yet. I think they're going to absolutely force feed. And this, like, if there's a player that I think expect to have the Amon-Ra St. Brown late week, like last week, 3 touchdowns, maybe 500 yards receiving or something like that, I think it could be CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to have just an absolute monster game. I want him in almost all my lineups.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm playing a lot of Cowgirl stuff, and I've made that known. And I mean, that's a great flag plan. I want to try to get a little different. So this one seems pretty off the wall, but I'm going to explain why. My first one, Nico Collins. I do not think anybody is going to play Nico Collins this week.
No, I think that's fair.
He's got the target share. He has cooked the Jaguars and this game, they're down 0-2. This is a game that they need to win. The target share is there. He's not going up, or the Texans offensive line is not going up against a behemoth on the defensive line where CJ Stroud gets cooked. So Nico Collins, a pay up wide receiver option that I don't think anybody is going to click on that can kind of get there and has that ceiling. So it is a couple guys on this list that are very off the radar, but that's my first one. And then last one for you today.
All right. So I wanted to do Ken Walker, but I already did CeeDee Lamb, and he's already obvious. So I'm going to pivot out for a tournament play. I kind of like Bashal Tutin. Is 4,900 on DK. All right. If I'm going to flag plant CeeDee Lamb, I got to go way off the board. Like we said, the Texans run defense is really good. So I think this could be a spot where they just have to put Bashal Tutin in and just, kind of gets a bunch of dump. I could see him getting like 6-7 targets in this game. Maybe he gets a receiving touchdown like he did last week. I think he can do enough in this game to pay off his sub 5K salary.
That is very off the grid. I like how we talked about that game. Like, I don't know if we're going to play it. We've both flagged playing a guy from that game. So I do like that call. I mean, that train's coming, if you've got him on waivers and just regular fantasy stuff. If he's there, you got to go get him. I mean, it's whether you like it or not, it's going to be there. So my last flag plant, I'm not sure. I've got like 4 guys, and I'll probably just list all of them. But my next one, my second official flag plant, Saquon Barkley has totally roasted the Rams the last 2 times they played. It's the only way they feel like they want to win is just on the ground there. So Saquon is there. The other 2 guys I had, Ladd McConkey and Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown is a wild tournament play that nobody's going to play. But those were the other guys that I was considering. So before we go, first off, I just want to thank Joel, as always, for hopping on. Like I said, the brains of the operation. So let everybody know where they can find you and what you're up to.
Yeah, at the Joel Wirth on the Twitter and on the Bluesky, and then doing the Thursday night statement games, Thursday night game preview with Mark Salino. And then you can find me every Sunday morning here on Jameson's channel, previewing DFS.
So, yeah, like he said, here every Sunday, 10 o'clock Eastern. Make sure to like, subscribe, phone a friend, tell them all about it, all that stuff. I'm on the Twitter machine at Jameson Rules, and everybody who hung out with us this morning, we really appreciate it. I hope we win you some money this week, and good luck on all your lineups this week. I appreciate you guys tuning in.